Welcome, my dear students. Uh, I am Khujista Noreen Liza, lecturer English, Anandavan College, Mamising. This is the class for honors 4th year. Our honors subject is English, and today's topic is novel. We have started our new novel, that is The Grass is Singing by Doris Lessing, and today we will start character analysis, and I wish we will start from the main character, the major character of this novel. Our lesson outcome is learners will be able to say about characters of the novel, say about the novelist, and explain the historical background of the novel. Doris Lessing, I have explained it in the previous class, though I will explain it today also. I wish I will say it 2 times, so you will be aware of the novelist, our novelist's background. So for that reason I am repeating it again today in this class. She born in 22nd October 1999 Kermanshah, Iran, and died 17 November 2013 at the age of 94, London, England. Her pen name is Jane Somers, occupation writer, nationality British, citizenship United Kingdom, period 1950 to 2030. Genre of her mastery, that is novel, short story, biography, drama, libretto, poetry. Literary movement, she was involved in modernism, postmodernism, Sufism, socialism, feminism, skepticism, science fiction, and her notable works are The Grass is Singing, Children of Violence series, The Golden Notebook, Briefing for a Descent into Hell, and The Good Terrorist. The notable awards she got: Somerset Maugham Award 1954, Austrian State Prize for European Literature 1981, W. H. Smith Literary Award 1986, and finally the Nobel Prize, that is in Literature 2007. This is her picture I have collected from internet. The characters of The Grass is Singing, I am repeating it again, that is Mary Turner, Dick Turner, Charlie Slater, Toni Morrison, Moses, Sergeant Denham, Mrs. Slater, unnamed farmer, and that is Samson. So the introduction, that is Doris Lessing is a British writer, a short story writer, a novelist, essayist, and critic, as well as whose works enormously show solitude for people in a tight spot of the social and political revolution in different eras. With a comprehensive survey in Doris Lessing's works, we know the marginal man is the main character and typical derivation. Doris Lessing never stops appealing from the rights of racial people, males and females, the old and the weak, who are surviving on the margin, and she makes a great contribution to the career of drawing portraits of them by her writing. They are ordinary people who are disciplined and admonished by the centered social mainstream, but they are struggling to drift out of the center. The Grass is Singing is Doris Lessing's first novel that is set on the background of colonized South Africa, that is, the setting is Rhodesia. Lessing showed a vivid picture of colonialism to the readers. Colonialism is one kind of aggressive policy which is a great menace to world peace. For the developed countries, they have always followed such kind of things in their relationship with the developing countries. The emergence of colonial power is the calamity of the colonized. Colonialism was not simply a system of exploitation man by man, but one whose basic objective was to absorb the benefits to the so-called motherland. So, the influence that leads the colonialism is the main reason for the heroine's tragic fate in The Grass is Singing. So, The next that is our Mary's drifting. Mary's drifting, that means random movement. Mary's drifting experience are commonly believed to be the main clue of her tragic fate. Mary never stops her journey of drifting from the childhood to the youth, especially after her marriage. Mary spends her childhood in poverty in the background of the small town. The rotten living condition and her parents' daily quarreling darken her life in her mind, which is difficult to be erased completely. She is brought up by accepting the educational opinion of being hostile to the black beast. This kind of abnormal educational philosophy makes Mary hair closed and hated. The grey cloud of the war hangs over the generation, especially her childhood. Although she and her family endured the torment in the same condition of economic constraints starting from her early age. So, her education of contrary to the reality and the ideality, later physical and mental development of health in the inferior situation. So, her unhealthy mental development forces her to generate her own disgust resistance of opposite to the sex and marriage. So, her inferior situation makes her have to escape from it, but just the drifting leads her fate into the unimaginable tragedy step by step. In the theory of marginal man, drifting is the main surviving way living condition. So, whether from the physical or mental aspects, she wants to live in a happy and free life in the future, and this drifting in her inevitable result of her life. So, when she steps into out the boarding school into the company where she finally finds a position, she is even satisfied with the dull work. Furthermore, because of her working in a handy and her economic independence, Mary temporarily forgets her own inferior situation in family and society. She thinks she can completely live without any interference from outside indeed, though she could not. At that moment, Mary is satisfied with her drifting life because of the present happiness and freedom. However, good days are short-lived. She is trapped again in another trouble. That is, when she originally thinks her life of drifting is over, while woman will be full of consciousness and be inevitable to be married out of difference to the living regulation sometime or other. Mary, who is in her prime, does not care about the surroundings and follows her usual way of doing things no matter what others say, in spite of sulkiness. So she grew older, and people's strange eyes and malicious words make her feel anxious daily. So the traditional prejudice and social pressure let her notice that all the time, unconsciously, without admitting to herself, she is looking for a husband. So she realizes that she has to begin her drifting life again. In the prejudice of the traditional marriage concept, she chooses the most condescending idea to get married freely and is eager to escape from the scandals. She would rather go back to the similar experiences of childhood than live in the city, which is full of unhappy experiences. Differently, after encountering with Dick, Mary desperately wants to get married immediately and without love, however. So there was a marriage without love. She thinks another drifting life will be excellent and happy like before, because she places her heart and new life on Dick and his farm, a new environment being full of natural atmosphere. But unfortunately, she is glaringly wrong that her decision of drifting just makes her move from the difficult to another. But drifting means to leave her familiar living circle and to strange from them. So, her movement cannot change her present situation of constraints by the traditional thoughts. Facing with a new environment, she and her soul feel a great conflict with the external world. She is given another heartbeat by the harsh reality of suffering the failure of desire for home. Dick is kind and full of passion to farm, but he is so much stubborn and incompetent that ruins everything. That ruins his future and also Mari's future too. She is afraid of accepting the reality of walking on her mother's old ways. But she was so much tensed and she was unhappy with this man. And Dick, the relationship between Dick and Mary become fruitless. So Mary's constraint and fear. In the colony, colonists treat themselves as savers and dominators to help the colonized to exploit their homeland and seek for a new world. The colonizers advocate racism, which established a basic discrimination between the white and the black. Furthermore, make a foundation for the immutability of discrimination between the white and the black. So, as a white woman brings up in the colony, Mary inherits the colonial and racial ideology from her parents. Her natures are mainly formed in her childhood, so that her constant thoughts become the primary reason of her tragic fate. She is deeply constrained by her family in her early time, especially from her mother. Mary remembers that her family is in the ordinary white working class with poor economic condition, which is not full of qualifications to be admired. So her whole family is expelled by the middle working classes because of the poorest living standard. So the endless quarreling and complaints make Mary feel scared and sick of marriage and family. So her freedom is really controlled by her mother's order. So therefore, she is busy enjoying in her free life in the city in her own way, but more she believes that no one will stop her real pursuit. But when her and Dick's marriage is under failure, so Mary raises her whip on Moses and leaves a horrible scar on his face, because Dick makes her live with the black people whom she hated too much. This tragic relationship and the wheel of fortune between Moses and Mary have been turned. The conflict of the colonial constraint and emotional desire must lead to Mary's tragedy. With the time passing by, Dick's spirit is increasingly deserting, nearly without a soul inside. However, instinct thought makes Mary want a baby to change her present living style, but only due to the poverty. Mary's strong living supporting of racial discrimination. In her potential opinion, she longs for comfort, care and love and strength. When she needs to pin her physical and mental hopes on Moses, she can't help being attracted by him and accepts his comfort. So there built an illegal relationship with Moses. So she has an emotional entanglement with black servant Moses. She is destined to be constrained in a marginal emotional problem. She struggles with herself all day, being both afraid of Moses leaving and being desired comfort from him. So there is a complicated inner situation in herself that creates her mental problem day by day. So again, Mary's feeling and awakening. Mary's feeling is mainly caused by her complicated inner world, so especially by awakening of the consciousness. In other words, Mary's feeling is one way of her awakening. After drifting between the city and the farmland, she finally realizes that she must run away from the place that constrains her, not only from the outside but also from inside. As a marginalized female, Mary breaks conservation thoughts and motivates new thoughts and innovations on the problems of dealing with relationship between colonizer and the colonized. The beginning of this story, Mary's death, just make readers full of great interest to continue to read and check out the reason of it. So, finally, in conclusion, we can say that the Grassy Singing makes use of an ironical way of dilemma of hegemony composed by the white settlers to sustain their colonial society. As South Africa is a victim of colonial shadow, Mary has her own wailing the colonialism as a marginal woman. She is a symbol, stands for the equity contradiction between the white and the black, the colonizer and the colonized. Mary's feelings leads her not only to the end of her life, but also the freedom of new survival. Finally, we can say that her very controversial situation, very much tragic situation in Mary's life, and her characteristics makes her sufferers. As a sufferer, though she was a colonizer, but she suffered. How she was suffered? She was suffered by the colonized situation, which her parents gave her input in her mind that these black people, they are inhuman, they are not human. So when she saw them, she feels that much hatred that they are not human. So that creates her very much painful situation in her inner mind. On the other hand, she could not find satisfaction in her husband, that is Dick. Dick could not give her mental and physical satisfaction and also economical satisfaction. So as a wife and as a human, she feels attracted by Moses and his manliness and also his the comfort he offers her. So this contradict situation creates a complicated situation in Mary's mind, and that leads to the tragedy. So finally, as a colonizer, she was a sufferer. As a woman, she was also sufferer, because she could not get as her wish the things she wanted to get, and on the other hand, as a woman, she was a sufferer by her husband, but also by Moses, though he was a colonized. He could not do so, and on the other hand, for society she was also sufferer. The society makes her marry, though she does not want to get married. So we can say the external condition makes her leads her to the tragic condition, tragic fate, that is her murder. Though she was a good-hearted woman, but her external situation makes her to live in a bad condition. Her drifting, her constant fears, her feeling and awakening, all the things are equally important in this character, in Mary Turner. So my dear student, I wish we can analyze further when we will analyze in a more deeper way, we can understand this novel in a more better way. This is our second class, I think, and I wish I can take you more classes on this novel. On that time we can go more in a more deeper situation of this novel, and that will make you understand in a more deeper way, and that will help you to write in your exam script, I wish. So thank you, stay safe and stay at home.